This is going to be my little introduction video. So I'm going to create a new game, and I'm going to play as Howard Hadrada of Norway. So playing as this guy means that I can have coastal rating for all naval melee units and 50% production towards naval melee units. So I made them twice as quick. Units have the ability to gain ocean tiles after researching the shipbuilding technology. I'm not sure if I read that wrong. The ocean tiles are different to coastal tiles. You tend to need higher technology, but it's a large yellow area. Naval melee units heal in neutral territory. So normally you can only heal in your own territory. Units ignore additional movement costs for embarking and disembarking, so it means you can go on to an off plan quick. Actually, that reminds me, I'm going to go turn on my mod stuff. So, the Berserker, which is a medieval unit. It's just a fairly decent unit. Fighting alone ship, Stave Church. Distribution.
From the first stirrings of life beneath water, to the great beasts of the Stone Age, to man taking his first upright steps, you have come far. Now begins your greatest quest, from this early cradle of civilization on towards the stars. All men fear the approach of your ships, King Harold of Norway, Thunderbolt of the North. Your longboats dominate the waves, always at the ready to unleash their berserker armies on an unsuspecting shore. May Odin bless your kingdom, and may the skalds sing tales of the victories of your mighty warriors.
Thank you. So actually, it started me here. But I'm going to move this settler just here onto the coast, so it means I can start making ships earlier, which is of course going to be helpful when I play Norway. Which also means that because I've just settled a city on the coast, I've boosted this technology, which means I can research it twice as quick. So right now I've just got my warrior and Nivaras, and I can choose a production, so I can build a monument, which increases my culture per turn. I can build a builder, which I can use to make interesting stuff in these tiles. I can make a scout that can move faster than this unit. I can build another warrior or a slinger. I tend to go with a builder first, or a monument. That's going to take 12 turns. In hindsight, I could have put this on quick game speed just so I could show you it sooner. See, I need animal husbandry to get the sheep. I need sailing for the crabs. I need irrigation for the incense, mining for the copper. If I can get the wheat straight away, but it's out of my area. Now, sailing could do. You know, I'm going to go sailing first, since I've already got the boost for that. See, there's a tribal village here. I could go to them and gain some interesting stuff. I may get extra population or some technology. That's what they just gave me a tech boost for archery. And I've just found a rainforest. And a barbarian scout. Great. I'm gonna have to chase them down because I want to find their encampment and take them out quickly before they start sending units towards me. And I've just met Zanzibar, which is a city-state. So, whereas the other civilizations can build more cities and are like the main contenders, the city-states are just single cities, they're much smaller and you can gain their favour by sending envoys. Different city-states. Oh, okay, there's another one. Different city-states can give different bonuses depending on, like you can tell by the colour, for instance, these ones are yellow, which means they're trading ones. And if I send envoys to them, it will boost my gold per turn. And stuff like that. Okay. I found half of the city-states in the game already. It's a bit strange. I'm going to try and cut off their exit. You see, by standing on these hill tiles, I can give my units. By being in the hills or in the forest, it gives my units more protection from attacks. But it also means that when you move into them tiles, it will cost more movement points. So I could get shipbuilding, but that's 56 turns. It's a bit advanced for me right now. So I'm gonna go with you know what? I want irrigation, and I would also quite like writing, so I'm gonna go with pottery.
It is not wisdom, but authority that makes a law.
So this is the civic tree. You start the game automatically by getting the code of laws. And I have space for one military policy and one economic policy, and I've got 2 of each right now. I don't really tend to have many recon units, so I'm going to go for +5 unit strength against barbarians. And I only this is 1 production in every city, or 1 faith or 1 gold in the capital. This one's better if you have just your capital, or this one's good if you've already built more cities. So I'm just going to go with God King right now. As you move along, you unlock new governments. Right now I just have the chiefdom, and then you unlock these 3 at the same time. Then you unlock these 3 later on, spread out, and then these 3, the ideology is much closer together again. And so each one increases the amount of policies you can have. Each one also gives you a certain bonus, like a base bonus, and you have legacy bonus as well. If you have that type of government for a long enough time, you get another bonus. And so, like how this is the tech tree. So you're moving into classical era, then the medieval era, and the Renaissance, the industrial era, the modern era, the atomic era, and the information era. You also have the civic tree, which represents like culture and diplomacy and government. Then goes classical, and here you unlock autocracy or oligarchy in classical republic. Then medieval era, where you can unlock monarchy. Then the Renaissance era, you can unlock merchant republic and theocracy. Then the industrial era. And then as you go from the modern era, actually yeah, so in the modern era you unlock ideology, which then allows you to unlock either democracy, fascism or communism. You could technically, like for instance, when you research this one, you'd get communism as a government, but you'd also get these 4 policies. So maybe you want a democracy, but you like this policy card. So you could technically do both and then mix them. And then you have the atomic era, and then the information era, but yeah, that's kind of just the two final ones. And then with the future civic and the future tech, they don't give you anything, but if you've got score victory on, they will just boost your score every time you do them. So now, this is a good point as well. The next civic for me to do, foreign trade or craftsmanship. That's better for if you're currently quite secluded, or you want to increase your city strength. And this is good if you've already got multiple cities or you found other people. For instance, I've already found the other city-states, so this might be a good one for me to be able to start trading. Still need to find that scale, and there he is. And the thing is, it's quite hard to chase scales given that they're a bit faster than you, so you have to be a bit smart, or just lag behind them. So I may as well start by making a Viking longship, like right now. Well, in 7 turns. This city's also grown to 3 population now, which means that 3 of the tiles here are currently being worked. The capital's always worked. So I could say focus on food, which does make sense. These options here are asking like focus or like avoid. Each of these things, they don't make much difference in the early game, but later on they can do. When you have more variety in your tiles. For instance, if I really wanted them to do that, I could lock someone would be working there and it'll be giving me more money because of the crabs. But I might be missing out on, say, the food of this tile here. See there how, even though this unit has 2 movement points, you can move from there to there. If he's going through a forest, it uses both of them. Okay, so I found that camp, and looks like they're already under attack by Zanzibar. So I might just join in and take the kill. Nope, they haven't done it yet. Yay, okay, perfect for me to come in and steal it. I've just got the boost for the civic military tradition. Also probably means that they might like me a bit more now as well. And I've just found a new civilization. China. So it's our honour to meet you, and I'm going to exchange information on the capital. So their capital is there.
I thought clay must feel happy in the good potter's hand.
So because I've met China, I've succeeded in finding another civilization, so that just gave me a boost to writing, which is good because I might get that next. Writing allows you to build campuses, which is a district and a library to put in it. And districts are, unlike normal tile improvements, say I could build a mine here or a farm here or something, districts act as big hubs where you build a lot of buildings in. For instance, if I put my city here, where it wanted me to originally rather than here, to be able to make boats I would have had to build a harbour district here. But I don't have to now, of course. Writing. Of course, early game is slower, but my point being that it isn't a complete... there we go, I just found a scout by getting that. It isn't a complete preview of the game, given the fact that the game has an early game and a mid game and a late game, and some maybe even an early game and an early mid, a late mid and a late. It does change throughout, and without playing an entire playthrough, I won't be able to show you all of it. So, obviously, this is near in the bottom of the map, which I think I've realised now by the edge of the map literally being here. Strange that you've got desert and ice so close together. So, could get early empire, which helps you progress in making more cities, or mysticism. Good if you want to start doing interesting stuff. I'm gonna do that one. Actually, no, I'm not gonna do mysticism because these two cards are wildcard cards, which you can't actually use with chiefdom. It's this slot here. You only get with these three. There's no point in me getting mysticism, other than building the oracle before I've got these. I'm not too fussed about making the oracle. So if I click this here, I'll make a beeline straight for it, and it will do craftsmanship and then early empire and the state workforce, without coming back to it until it's done political philosophy. Okay, so now I've got my Viking land ship, I can start exploring. I'm not even sure if there's anything to explore. Actually, yeah, I'm going to build up a trader. That'll be good. So, oh, I just got another scout. See, I'm going to control this one to kind of map out the edge of the land, but I want this one to automate. So you just go and search for any part that isn't already found yet. It's another tribe. Funny if they give me another scout. See here, what I'm doing is I'm saying, oh, move there, and the next turn I'll say, move there. But what you can do, if you want them to go to a specific place, like here, it will just make their turn here, and it will show you all the numbers on what turn it'll take. It said it'll take 10 turns for them to get there, and it won't, like beelining in the civics or the technology tree, it won't come back to you until they've actually got there. Or I could just say, like, go there, and they'll try and make their way there. If there's anything in the way, they'll go around it. But you may just walk straight into like a barbarian camp if you do that. So, you know. You see here is the ocean tile and the coast tile. I don't have the technology yet to get into the ocean tile. Of course, being Norway, I can get that technology sooner, but because I don't have it yet. You may notice with the music, it's quite simple, which is because I'm in the ancient area. It's kind of stripped back. I've just got another trader. I only have space for one trade route anyway, so yeah, I should probably just stop that then. Go back to it later if I need more. So I'm going to start building this builder. What was I saying? So the music's quite stripped back, and it'll become more complicated as you go throughout the game. And it's kind of just go back to music, to be honest. The music that's playing right at the beginning is different to the one it's playing now, because originally it was just playing the Norwegian theme. Because of course I'm playing as Norway, but after I found China, it will then add the Chinese theme into a playlist with the Norwegian one and alternate between them. And so every time you find a new civilization, it'll start playing their theme at random points as well, add them into the playlist as well, should I say. You see, this is, although he's automated, he's actually given control back over to me here because there's danger, whether or not I want to attack or just carry on going. If they come across a tribal village, it'll do the same thing. It'll say, there's something over here on your input. And notice here as well these rocks that
Writing is
actually...
easy. All you have to do is cross out the wrong words.
Oh yeah, these rocks here are essentially cliffs. And so, now then how units can embark or disembark. Can't actually yet because I don't have the technology for it, but they can't embark or disembark on, say, this tile. because of the cliffs, unless they had a particular promotion which allowed them to do so, or a particular unit that could. So that's a dead end. Mountain and ice. Go back around again. So I'll say do that, and then in 5 turns time it'll come back to me when they're already there. Now, mining, irrigation, astrology is good for starting up a religion, that sort of stuff. I'm gonna get mining, given I could make use of this pretty useless tile and start gathering the copper. You see these resources are split into 3 groups. You have bonus resources, which give you, which make the tile that they're on more valuable. So say fish, for example, where am I looking? Options. Yield icons. These are telling me straight out right all the stuff. So this fish, for example, would mean that you can gather more food from this tile. The crabs here you can add more money. If I built fishing boats in either of those, it would increase the amount of fish, increase the amount of food, increase the amount of money and food. This copper here, for example, increases the production and gold. The wheat here would also increase the food. Hill tiles naturally have 1 more production. These sheep here give another production. And so that's bonus resources. Then you have luxury resources, which don't really tend to increase the yield that much, but they supply amenities to your cities, which keeps people happy. If your amenities go too low, they may riot. And then finally you get, I'm not sure if I can actually see any here. There we go, strategic resources. Right at the beginning of the game, the only ones you can see are horses, all the other ones are like stuff you dig out of the ground, like iron and aluminium, and you get sulfur and is sulfur? I know night is one of them, and then uranium and that sort of stuff. They are kind of like bonus resources. They'll increase the stuff you get from a tile, but they're more generic. What they tend to do is they allow you to build specific stuff. So if I gathered this, if I had horses, it would then allow me to build horse units, providing I had the ability, the technology to do so. As you see, this trader is moving towards Bandar Brunei, I don't know. As he's moving towards, he's building a path, which also means that walking on these tiles here costs less action points. Early game paths basically hardly do anything, but as you go later in the game, they can reduce the movement costs quite considerably, to the point where you could be, if you had roads between all your cities, you could run from one end of your empire to the other in like 2 turns. So he just sent me a delegation, which, although it says finest spices, tea and silk, that's kind of just wrote for the civilization. It's basically just a way of them showing that they like me. Similarly, I could go to them and send a delegation that costs 25 gold. It's just a way of increasing how much they like you. I'm going to turn the yield icons off. Actually, you know what, I'll keep them on. As I go through the game, I tend to move some of these off because your cities start becoming more clustered and you have more stuff happening and you have more units. It tends to get a little bit overwhelming. So you start like getting rid of these stuff and it cleans everything up a little bit. But early game, I might as well take the grid off. You can also have strategic view. But I never use this, like ever. Next turn. I realised I muted my mic earlier when the intro was playing, but yeah, I've just thought for a second then if it would be really funny if I accidentally left it off. It'd be quite embarrassing. So I could attack him and both lose the same amount of health. But I could just defend, and in case he attacks me, then I'll probably take less damage. Or if he wants to just move him out around me, then I can just leave. I'm just gonna wait it out.
Without craftsmanship, inspiration is...
That was good. I didn't actually, I just listened to what he said. See, this would give me +1 faith, or I could have another 2 gold for my trade route. I'm not too fussed about that, since the trade route already gets me 5. The main thing I do this for is the faith, because then that allows you to basically make a religion earlier on. Religion is just one way of winning a game, but it's also quite a useful thing to have. Or I could have +30% production towards builders, means I'd make them 30% quicker. But for now, I'm just going to leave this as it is. Changing your policies costs money to unlock them, to allow you to swap them around. And also they might anger people if you change them. With the exception of if you just unlocked a new policy, like you just done a new civic, then you can do it for free. So, Barbarian Spearman. Bronze working. Okay. Ah. Horseman. Okay, I'm gonna bunker down. This is a melee ship, so I can't actually attack them. If it was a ranged ship or something with ranged capability, I could bombard the encampment or the unit. But I can't. Neither mind. Probably do a build in maybe another warrior or a slinger or something slightly more powerful. And so this isn't necessarily a very complete example of fighting in the game, because not every unit type has been unlocked yet, but you have a lot of unit types. Even cavalry, you have light cavalry and heavy cavalry. The most basic thing you could describe is that there's melee and ranged attacks. Aurora Borealis. Melee attacking, on the whole, I suppose it tends to do more damage. Depends on the unit. Different units will do more of either. Some units don't have the capability of doing any ranged attacks. Melee damage, here for example, I attack them and in turn I take damage as well, so it's kind of more of a sacrificial thing, whereas ranged attacks don't deal any damage to the person attacking. Most ranged units will do a considerable amount of ranged damage, but will also have a set amount of melee damage as well, which is only used if they are attacked by a melee unit, which is usually quite low. So if a ranged unit is attacked by a melee unit, it tends to be that the melee unit comes down top. Okay, so because these guys are taking quite a bit of a beating,
Who deserves more credit than
become better at fighting, which means basically it's their experience point. I can promote them, and I can choose one of these: increased combat strength against ranged and melee units, or increased combat strength when defending against ranged attacks. And I haven't really come across any ranged anything yet, and this is going to help me right now. Yeah. Also promoting grants 50% your health back. So by this unit staying here and continue to bunker down, you might actually be able to wear down these units. So, gonna do bronze working. Also, only one time, so my what's it's done. Just met Laventa. There's barbarian like horse archers so that's not good. Okay, so I just killed that unit. Oh, the archer's gonna get me. Guess we'll find out next installment. Right, let's send the builder over there. See this campus here? Yeah, good. It increases, you build buildings in it, for instance a library, and other buildings later on to increase your science output. However, you also get adjacency bonuses, which is kind of just additional, that's chucked on top. For instance, the campus has adjacency bonus for every mountain it's near, and for every 2 other districts or any 2 rainforests it's next to. So say here, this is a good place, because it's next to 2 mountains, it would give an additional 2 science per turn. I don't own that tile, so I'm actually going to spend some money and buy it, and then start on the campus there. I suppose one other thing I should mention is how the cities work. So the city currently is getting 12 food. The amount of food you have depends on affects your population. The higher your population, the more food you need. If you have an excess of food, then your population goes up. If you have some sort of famine, your population will go down. Additionally, you have production, which, say here, the granary costs 65 production to make. That's a base thing, it never changes, unless you change the game speed, of course. And my city has a production of 7, so it's going to work up to that 65 production in installments of 7, and that's going to tell you how many turns it's going to take. Additionally, you have culture and science and faith and gold. Culture is for the civic tree, science is for the tech tree, faith you can use to work on your religions and upgrade them and buy certain faith units, and then gold, of course, is trading and buying tiles and buying units as well if you don't have the time or the production to make them. Additionally, I can promote this unit, so I can make him faster in wood, rainforest, or hills. I'm going to say hills. Now, yeah, I could bunker down here and probably defend against this unit, but if I bunker down, that's not going to help me defend against the horse archer, because the horse archer doesn't have to hit me to do damage. I can't retaliate in the same turn, so it's probably best if I run away. And also, it's early enough in the game that the enemy units aren't smart enough that they don't get flanking bonuses, so they can't just hit me in the rear and do additional damage at this point, I think. I think I need to keep on running, but they're faster than me, so I don't know, is it going to be worth attacking them? Probably not. I'm going to try and get into the forests, it might help me get away. Might even send my scouts over to help, but I don't know, probably won't get there in time. I should probably imagine the scouts aren't very combat capable.
Is a 250 square mile tiger trap made up on massive obelisks, riddled with jagged spears, and yes, they will cut your pretty face.
So that's a natural wonder. Games will spawn them, more of them depend on the size of the map, and basically they just provide additional stuff to the tiles around it. For instance, as you can see here, this is providing one, actually probably tell me if I go over it, it provides 1 culture and 1 science to every adjacent tile. It also means that the tiles around it are probably more attractive, which comes into, there's a mechanic that comes into the game later on when you're trying to build residency districts, which increase the land value and the population that will live there depending on how attractive the tile is. But yeah, early game makes no difference. fact, I could probably even go into an appeal here. So this is showing the appeal of the tiles. For instance, these red ones are, and I quote, disgusting, as the green ones here, for example, are breathtaking. Religion, of course, no religion exists yet, so this isn't going to really show anything. Continent, we're all on the continent of Lemuria. Settler, this is a settler screen that kind of just shows you where would be a good place to build settlers. For instance, grey tiles means that you can build a settler, you can build there. Light green means that it's a coastal tile, which means that you would get +1 population space housing. And then you have freshwater tiles, which are +3. I almost exclusively build on freshwater tiles. Red means it's too close to another city or blocked by the terrain. For instance, you can't build a city on the mountains. This also shows government, chiefdom. Everyone's got chiefdom because nobody's far enough to unlock anything else. Tourism, again, late game thing, mid-late game sort of way of winning. I suppose I could detail the ways you win this game. So there are currently 5 victories. Domination. Very straightforward is you have to conquer and control, I think over half, most of the capital cities in the game. Then you have, say, science victory, which is you have to get to the end of the science tree and you have to launch a satellite, launch onto Mars and build a colony. And once you do that, then you win the science victory. You have cultural victory, which is about tourism. The way that works is when you have stuff in the late game that provide tourism, it will increase your influence on other civilizations that is reduced by their culture. So tourism is kind of your attack and culture is your defense. And when your tourism is high enough, or you have such an influence over the other civilizations, then you win the culture victory. And then you have the religion victory, which is have over half of the civilizations in game follow your religion. It's very similar to the domination one, but less aggressive. And then you have the score victory, which is at the end of a set amount of turns, or a turn timer or something like that. The civilization with the highest score wins, and score is just based on everything that you have, you own, you build. That's all. So I've built the mine on the copper here, which increased the production, I think, and the gold. I'm going to build a farm on the wheat field here. I'm also not going to keep this video on too much longer. I mean, I'm only on turn 33 right now. You can probably see how long these games would go off for, given it's been 38 minutes and 40 seconds, and games are really only just scratching the beginning. See, the traders built those route and they're going back. Not sure if they've already been there and back already. I haven't been checking. But when they've completed a set amount of route, like repeats, it completes the trade route, and there will be a trading route set up, say here, which will then increase the amount of stuff I can get next time I do it. And then it will give me the option to either change the trade route or repeat it. So see here, 2 food, 1 production. I need to turn off units like that. 3 food, 1 production, and also makes a nice field. They don't have this scout doesn't have enough action points to go over the river this turn, so I'm just going to skip. how about I go out and get the crabs? The builders in this have 3 uses, and then they disappear, and then you have to build another one. Kind of differs to Civilization 5, where you could build a unit, a builder, and whereas these ones, you click on it and it builds it instantly, and you can do it 3 times. It'll take multiple turns for a builder to build anything in Civilization 5, but then you would keep them around for the entire game, provided they weren't captured or killed or something like that.
I'm also interested in
So you could
Edward's
technically
luxuries
do
like air
everything.
conditioning.
You could technically do everything with one builder, but it would just take ridiculously long. So let's say irrigation. In 3 turns time, the what's already finished. The campus. What's that noise for then? I'm going to build that so it now increases the amount of food I get, because people actually eat them. Ah, Pantheon. Okay, so Pantheon's kind of the first step to making a religion. It's basically just like a pagan sort of belief that people follow, and it's kind of the first bonus you can get. I tend to go for Divine Spark, which means that all of the districts that you build provide 1 more great person point for that respective district. So what great people are they pretty great people who you can recruit by either paying them enough, that's patronage, or by making enough great people points. What they'll do is, well, depends on what type it is. So a great general, for example, would increase the strength of your units, or you could make them retire, and their retire ability would be convert adjacent barbarian units, but it depends. It changes from general to general. Great Admiral here, for example, when he retires, he would instantly create a type of boat. This Great Engineer would instantly build ancient and medieval walls. Some of them will boost your wonder production. This Great Merchant grants 100 faith. It's a strange combination. Great Prophets will create religions. Great Scientists will trigger Eurekas, the little bonuses to technologies. Great Writers and Artists and Musicians create works of art, which create and produce culture for you. And then, late game, they'll create tourism. See, no one's recruited any great people yet. But after I get this, I will start producing great scientist points. Been surprisingly explorative. I'm not sure if that's even the right word. I don't really tend to explore that much. I tend to, in a normal game, to be honest, I'd probably just stick to this area and I wouldn't move out of it. I'm very secluded. I'm kind of surprised by how much I'm actually exploring. This would be an interesting place to put a city right here. It's like surrounded by mountains. You wouldn't get much out of the city because they wouldn't be able to do that much given how many mountains are around it. And of course, you can't work on mountain tiles. But you'd definitely be very protected. Yeah, and I just thought as well, it's a coastal tile, so you'd build a city here, and the only way you could get off the city would be to go straight into the water. I really should have put on like quick or online speed just to showcase it a bit quicker. So, state workforce, and the campus is finished. There was also a barbarian scout that's found my city, so they're going to start spawning units here to come and attack me, unless I can put a stop to it. These guys have been What have these been doing up there? I completely forgot why I even put them there. Also, because I'm not sure when I got it, because I got bronze working. It also means that, for instance, I can see this iron. It's before that was always there, and if I built a mine there before, it would automatically then provide it with me. But I can't actually build a mine there because it's out of my territory. But basically that was always there, but now I can see it. Build a spearman, but for the sake of the video I'm going to make a settler. Just to show settlers. Let's say, for example, this warrior.
Grit enough to bring about the
This warrior needs to come down here to protect my city, but I'm not sure if it'd be sufficient. I'm not sure if I can get there quick enough, so I'm going to see if I can purchase a unit with money. This is basically mercenaries. You're buying, you're giving money to your people to come and become fighters. I'm going to buy a spearman. Spearmen being anti-cavalry, their spearmen are based strong, like 5 attack stronger than the warriors, but they also get bonus damage against cavalry units, horse units, because they're anti-cavalry. I say horse units, but cavalry units later on become like tanks and stuff. Let's see. Let's say astrology. And that's astrology, not astronomy. So I've gone all the way around this island now. Well, I say island, this is a continent. It's a small map, so it's I say island. But what this also means is that because this is a tiny map, it's 4 players. Because the 3 AIs and 6 city-states. So what this is going to mean is that there's going to be another continent like over here with the other 2 civilizations and 2 city-states. It's probably going to be a little bit smaller. Sometimes you get continent maps where continent maps are typically 2 big landmasses and then a couple of islands around it. Sometimes you get them where it might have 3 on one and 1 on the other. But it usually scales the land, so it's a bit more even. Of course, it looked like nothing really happened then, but that was quite a lot of damage. See,
a physician without a knowledge of astrology has no right to call himself a physician.
And say, of course, scouts aren't very strong units, but I didn't take much damage then from this attack, because 1, they're fortified, but also because they had to cross over a river to do the attack, it quite drastically reduced their the damage. Say here, I can't exactly point to it with the mouse because I need to keep on the warrior, but see 20 base damage, do -3 because they're damaged already, but they'll do +3 because they're on a hill and +5 because it's over a river. And this would result in me losing a lot more health than they would. So I could get iron working to make a swordsman, but swordsmen require iron. And I haven't got any iron near any of my cities, well, my city. So that's not going to be useful for me right now. I'm going to wheel. I'm going to discover the wheel. I'm going to make that one, so in case I missed anything. It's going quite well. Certainly not going very well. I could go and attack him, but then the spearman might just attack me and... Nah, I'll just defend again. Yeah, thanks. And that's another thing, actually, the other civilizations, depending on the civilization, will have agendas, which if you follow, they'll like more. If you go against, they won't. For instance, China is particularly about building wonders, like civilizations that aren't competing for wonders, dislikes losing a wonder to another civilization. Wonders are kind of just special buildings that take up wonder tiles, and they give big bonuses, but they're quite expensive to make, and you need specific technology to make them. So for instance, if China's trying to build Big Ben, and I build Big Ben before them, they won't be happy. See, if I try to attack him right now, the scout unit would literally just die. It's always nice to have a barbarian camp so close to your capital city. Ah, slingers. Okay. That's bad. What are you defending? I'm gonna move this other scout away. So none that players just finish building Stonehenge. You usually find that Stonehenge is usually one of the first wonders that's built in the game, because it's very early discovered. So I'm just going to get them to heal up before I kind of go into the attack. It's good, in 2 turns I'll have the wheel, in 3 turns I'll have political philosophy, and in 4 turns I'll have my settler. You move forward, you 2 stay there.